What is happening, guys? This is Jensen. How are you guys doing today? I am so excited to be making this video. I want to say a huge shout out to all of my fellow San Diegans. It is so amazing living in the sunniest place on God's green earth. You're probably watching this video because you're actually interested in going solar here in sunny San Diego. Well, that's what this video is all about, answering your questions on what is the best way to go solar. There are many reasons to go solar, and you may have a couple of them yourself. I mean, whether you are just simply wanting to save money, you want to live in a better way that's cleaner for the environment, or you just want to be more conscientious about how you are spending your money. It doesn't matter what your reason is. It is always a good idea to think about going solar. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that you need to know before you actually put some panels on top of that roof. Now, first things first. Before you end up going solar, you have to decide in what way you actually want to go solar.
What is he saying?
What?
Wait, what is he talking about?
I don't get it.
There's more than one way to go solar? What, is he crazy? You just put the panels on top of the roof.
He's up on the roof with his birds.
Yeah, okay, the way you actually get solar on top of your roof and working for your home, yeah, that's not really gonna change. But the truth is, there's actually 3 primary ways that one can go solar. Basically, the 3 ways to go solar is like this. There are 3 ways to basically finance how you want to go solar. Now, most of you are familiar with the first option, which is to purchase. Now, this is the most common way that most people think about when they're gonna go buy some solar panels. They buy the panels, they put them on the roof, and they're good to go. The second is a lease option. And the third option, which we're gonna spend some time talking about today, is called the PPA, the Power Purchase Agreement.
Wow, it looks great.
So the first way to go solar is obviously just purchasing them. Spending, anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000, and then what do you know? You put them on top of your roof, and as long as you stay within the limits of what those panels can provide for you, you don't have a power bill. It's pretty awesome, right?
Yes! That's awesome!
Yeah. And for people who want to own, and they're not afraid of, covering the insurance, the maintenance costs, they just like the idea of ownership, purchasing is a great option. However, for people who are not necessarily in that position, I would not recommend this, especially if they don't plan on living in their home for at least 15 years. Given because it takes about 7 to 10 years to recoup the money on that investment. So if you want a decent ROI, and you're gonna purchase, I would make sure that you're planning to spend the next 15 years in your home. Number 2, the second option to go solar is a lease. Now, a lease is something that came out a few years after the purchase was available. Leases sound nice because a lot of times it's 0 money up front. You don't have to pay anything to install them, and you just simply pay a lower electric bill. The biggest problem with a lease, and it's not necessarily a problem, it's like if you decide you want to lease panels, I would make sure you go through the agreement very carefully. And the reason I say this is if in the lease it puts any stipulations or conditions around the home itself, you want to be very careful of that, especially if you decide to sell your home. If you decide to sell your home, there is a possibility that in your agreement, they can put a lien on the home. Now, these are sometimes older agreements. It's not usually always the case, but it's definitely good to double check and make sure you talk to your solar representative about this to make sure this isn't happening. Because the last thing you want is if you're getting ready to sell your home, let's say in the next 5 years, you want to sell it, you're like, everything's good to go. And next thing you know, you find out you can't sell it because of this agreement that you previously signed for those solar panels that are now on your roof.
Well, that sucks.
The other option now when it comes to leasing is if you do want to transfer it over to another homeowner, they actually do have to have a credit score of, I believe, at least 800 or higher in order to qualify to take over that lease. It can be very complicated, creates a lot of hiccups. Still, it's not necessarily a bad option because you have that zero upfront cost. And you're also getting a lower electric bill, so you are technically saving money. It's just sometimes you need to be aware if you're gonna do a lease to own option, you wanna make sure that you're prepared for those, things that are those little eensy teensy things that are written within that contract. And the third option for going solar, which in my opinion is my favorite because it creates the most straightforward, it is perhaps the easiest way to get into solar, is what we call a power purchase agreement. Now, if you live in San Diego, as I do, you're already actually technically under a power purchase agreement. You just happen to be paying for your power to SDG&E. So in this power purchase agreement that you are under with SDG&E, you are currently paying them to actually generate power for you and transport it to your home. It just so happens that the place that they are getting power for you happens to be from a coal plant in Arizona. So it's several hundred miles away, and that's what causes the transmission costs, transportation costs, all these extra costs to be thrown on top of your bill. Now, when you actually make the transition over to solar, what ends up happening if you go under a power purchase agreement, aka a PPA, what you're actually doing now is you're actually paying for the power generated from the panels. And if it is a good agreement, the company actually owns the panels, they insure them, they maintain them, they take care of all of the maintenance issues and costs that the homeowner would be responsible if they were simply purchasing. So in this particular case, if you have a power purchase agreement, you're just simply paying for that electricity. And if your solar representative is good and they know what they're doing, you're getting it at an awesome discount, saving anywhere from 20 to 50% on that electricity bill. Now, you may be asking me, okay, Jensen, what is the difference between a lease agreement and a PPA?
Wow, that's a great question.
So this is actually a very good question. I mean, both have zero upfront costs for the installation, and they're both set up so you get a discount in your electricity bill because you're no longer paying your bill to SDG&E, you're paying it now to the solar company. So what is the difference? Okay, this is the biggest difference. With a power purchase agreement, this agreement is an agreement that's separate from your mortgage, separate from any attachment necessarily to your home. The agreement is between you, the homeowner, and the solar company. So basically how this works, let's say in the next 2 years, you're living in this home, but you decide, hey, we want to move into a different place. We want to move out. We want to move out of the city, or we want to move to a better part of the city. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Let's just say you simply want to move, and you have to move, or you need to. Well, the beautiful thing about a power purchase agreement, aka PPA, is it is guaranteed to transfer over to the next homeowner. Now, you do want to make sure that you're checking with your solar representative on this to make sure that their company is reputable and they can actually back up what they're saying. With a particular solar company that I work with, I'm very confident that they can actually back this up because they've been around for over 12 years and have well over 30 years of experience and have served thousands of people across the United States. So with me, when I work with you, let's just say that's an example, we sit down, I offer you a PPA, I know with beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're going to be able to transfer that agreement over to the next homeowner. But make sure that you do when you do talk to your solar representative, make sure you go over that with them to make sure that there's no hidden costs or hidden fees attached to that. So, and that should all be spelled out in your agreement. But at the end of the day, out of the three, I would definitely say that the power purchase agreement is definitely one of the best that you can go for because it's an easy way to actually save money on that electric cost. Okay, now that we've talked about the three different ways to go solar, I want to talk about solar companies. So that's basically the second thing that I want to talk about in this video. So when you're choosing a solar company to work with, In this particular video, I'm not gonna favor one company over the other. That's not the purpose of this. However, I do want to inform you as the customer to make sure you do your homework and your due diligence. There are over 30 different solar companies in San Diego alone. So with that in mind, you want to make sure that the company that you work for is going to be a company that's going to be around. The unfortunate thing is, and I'm not putting this on any particular company, but there are some companies out there that have only been in the business for a short period of time, and they're really just taking advantage of the benefit of the tax credit that has been around for the last few years. But unfortunately, after 2019, that 30% tax credit is going down. And by 2021, it's going to go away forever and completely. So with that being said, if you're going to go with a solar company here in San Diego, make sure that in their agreement, everything is clearly spelled out for you and you clearly understand it. If you're working with a good rep, they should be able to clearly define all of the specific terms that are in that agreement so you have the peace of mind knowing that you're getting into something that is not going to change over the course of the terms of the agreement. So with that being said, for example, let's say you decide to get into a PPA agreement, aka power purchase agreement, with this solar company. You want to make sure that the agreement is clearly spelled out and the company you're working with has a good reputation with its customer base. And any good rep should be able to showcase this to you and give you the peace of mind that you're making a good decision. Now, if you want to have more information about what are some good companies to look into here in San Diego, I put a link down in the description. So make sure you click that and do all the reading, all the research you want. I've got a few good links down there that you can look into right away. Okay, and now with that being said, you have looked into solar. You are thinking, yeah, I really want to go solar, but you're thinking, I don't know if this is the right time. Can I encourage you in the most unbiased way that this year, in the year 2019, I would say this is the best year to at least get the process started to get into solar. The state of California has already mandated that by the year 2030, 50% of all homes have to be under solar power, or at least offset part of their power by solar. And by the year 2050, they're declaring that 100% of all homes need to be using solar energy. Now, with this being said, the other big thing about starting to get into solar in 2019 is the fact that you actually get to take advantage of perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of the tax credits, the discounts that are available, and so many other incentives. The biggest thing is that with the tax credit, it is literally going away in the next 2 years. It's dropping down to 26% by 2020, and then another 20, and then going to 22% by 2021. And then after that, zilch, nada, gone. Now, I'm not trying to say this to scare you, but I'm just saying this is the time to at least get serious about putting some good panels on your home. Now, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me, subscribe to this YouTube channel. I love talking about business, solar, and anything else related to that. So be sure to click in the link below, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you have any personal questions for this video alone, I've also put a link where you can actually reach out to me and actually set up a free consultation where I will sit down with you, create a design, and show you a savings analysis on how much you can literally save right now. With that being said, I also do want to state, SDG&E has already declared that they're raising their rates by 28% over the next 4 years. That is massive. And starting next year alone, it's going up 11%. So those of you who happen to be very conservative with your electric bills, I do want to applaud you. Way to be conservative. You are literally an inspiration to me in your frugalness. Teach me your ways. I will say, however, you will be affected the most because of those massive percentage changes. So, if you have any questions about that, be sure to subscribe and also click the link below, and you can reach out to me personally and I can set up a time to sit down with you and your family where we could create a savings design together that is literally going to save you countless amount of dollars in the years to come. So this is David Jensen Shear. As a solar representative, I cannot wait to talk more with you. Be sure to reach out, subscribe, and we'll talk soon.